and the strength of our international presence. And nothing could have made the case for independence clearer than the way we were treated at COP. A country internationally recognised as a world leader in mitigating climate change was denied a place at the climate change table. A country who invented the concept of a just transition was shut out from the just transition negotiations. A country where the decision about whether or not a licence is granted for an oil rig in our waters is being made by another country. Please let me be clear on this point. It's Scotland's oil, and it's staying in Scotland's ground. We welcomed the world to Glasgow as a nation in waiting. We know we have a democratic case for self-determination, and so does the world. Europe is our home. They have kept the lights on for us. Terry Renke, Green MEP and chair of our Friends of Scotland group, sent this message this morning. Terry says, now more than ever, we need to strengthen the ties between Scotland and Europe. We share common values and a vision for a greener, fairer and more equal society, especially in times when our democracies are under attack by authoritarian forces. We have to stand together to defend these values. Never forget, our door will always remain open. We want to build a future together with you. Thank you, Terry. Solidarity is indeed the tenderness of the people. So let's work with our friends. 62 countries have secured independence from the UK. Let's do this. Let's be the 63rd in 2023.
Bonjour, conference. My thanks to fellow observer MEP Heather Henderson for moving this important motion today. Merci, Heather. Let me reassure you all that as former members, we are engaging with our friends and colleagues of the European Parliament. We are also participating to many events across the EU to ensure Scotland's voice is heard. Virtually, of course, the last 20 months, with journalists in the media, with young people in universities, in discussion panels with other European politicians. Last month, I ventured to the continent for the first time to do just that. Don't tell my parents. I haven't seen them since the start of the pandemic. The city and region of Bordeaux wanted to know what ideas Scotland will bring in the conference on the future of Europe. For 3 days, I met young people and local politicians, telling them all about our vision of an independent Scotland in Europe. Next, I celebrated amongst friends the IFA's 40th anniversary in Brussels, in the heart of Europe. The president of the youth wing of the European Free Alliance was leading the IFA youth meetings. She's as Scottish as I am, our great Catalan New Scot, Valentina Cervera. Robin Graham, the National Secretary of the YSI, made a great contribution too. As you can see, we have really not left Europe. IFA, the EU are ready and expecting an independent Scotland to join them soon. It was an opportunity to remind our friends that our referendum will be held before the end of 2023. 2022 is before the end of 2023. I said to them, be ready next year, just in case. Last year, we produced a leaflet to celebrate the SNP in Europe. COVID stopped and our distribution, but if branches wants any of this leaflet, please let me know. The SNP has stood in Europe for 40 years. Scotland is at the heart of Europe. From estating voting right to 16 years old and to all who live here, to our vision of a well-being economy, redefining what it means to be a successful nation in the 21st century. Now is the time for Scotland to prepare to return to Europe and to take our rightful place as a full member of the European Union. We have a common history and a common vision for the future. On October the 23rd, we celebrate the old alliance between Scotland and France, the oldest alliance in the world between two nations. In the words of the President of the French Republic, vive l'Écosse européenne.
Thank you very much to Christian and thank you to Heather. And our next speaker speaking in favour of the resolution is Valentina Cervera-Clavel of Pollock Shields East Branch. So welcome, Valentina.
Hi, Christian, thank you all for having me, and thank you for Heather and Christian for inviting me to speak with them in this resolution. I thank them and also Eileen for the amazing work they've been doing representing us in Europe and being our voice even after Brexit. I'm currently joining you live from Venice because I'm currently in a meeting bureau with the European Free Alliance Youth. So this resolution comes quite at the perfect time. For me, this motion means a lot. International solidarity has been the foundation of my activism. I grew up listening to the stories of the Spanish Civil War and the international brigades, how people from the UK and Ireland came to Spain to fight even a war that wasn't theirs just because of their beliefs in democracy. As I grew older, international solidarity became the reason I ended up in Scotland. I met a group of young Scots for Independence activists in Catalonia, and I fell in love with your people, with your movement, and I just had to join in. Scotland is a European country. Scotland voted to remain. Unfortunately, the forceful contract that the UK has with us meant that we were taken away of the European Union against our will. But while we're working to come back, our links with the European Free Alliance Youth need to grow stronger. Our allies, our neighbors in Europe are looking to help us and are working for us to be back. We can't burn bridges with our European family. Every time I go to international events, people are amazed of the work the SNP are doing. Every time I have to speak or I'm invited to international meetings, it is an honor to explain and maybe to brag a little bit as well of the work the SNP and the Scottish government are doing. But it shouldn't be my place to be telling this. You know, I shouldn't be the voice of the SNP abroad. It's not my place. This is why, apart from asking you to support this resolution, I ask for I propose for the creation of an international officer in the SNP NEC. In YSI, I had the honor of being the first ever international officer. And as an NEC, it makes things 10 times easier. It can be that a party as big as the SNP, we don't have someone that is the representative, that is our voice to the rest of the world. Our international delegates are telling me, oh, the SNP doesn't even respond to our emails. And I'm sitting there, I have to apologize on our behalf. And sometimes I think, well, sometimes we don't even respond to our own members' emails and complaints. And I understand we have so many members. Maybe it's time to create this position so someone can take charge and be our voice and our direct contact with the rest of international communities. Conference. While we work towards an independent and more equal Scotland, we need to share our good practices. We need to tell the world how good we're doing and our equality policies. We cannot be achieving an independent Scotland and a more equal one when in the rest of the world, some communities don't even have access to their basic needs. Scotland Conference, please support this resolution. Let's get our links with Europe stronger. Let's bring back Scotland to its rightfully place in the European Union. Soar Alba and Visca Catalunya. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Valentina. And delegates, our next speaker, also speaking for the resolution, is Claire Adamson, MSP. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you very much, Kirsten, and a warm welcome to everyone to conference today. It's wonderful to be here. I'd like to extend an invitation to Valentina to come to my constituency and see our wonderful monument to the International Brigade and those heroes from Lanarkshire who lost their lives in the Spanish Civil War. It was vandalised with fascist graffiti last year, and it's just a reminder to all of us how precious our hard-fought-for democratic rights are and how important our links with Europe are to maintain those. Scotland has a proud tradition of strong cultural trading links with Europe. From the Wallace and de Murray-Lubeck letter of 1297 through the Old Alliance to the Erasmus exchange programme established by Winnie Ewing, Madame Ecosse, we have aye been an outward-looking nation with a hand of friendship to our European neighbours. We now find ourselves torn out of that union against our will, with Brexit chaos worsening by the day. Erasmus, free movement of people, trade relations, well-being objectives, initiatives like Farm to Fork, and EU citizenship. The list of those rights denied to us goes on and on. As convener of the Scottish Parliament Constitution Europe External Affairs and Culture Committee, my work is dominated by these issues each and every day. Our democratic deficit is cemented as our government is cut out of and excluded from the UK and EU Trade and Cooperation Agreement forums and committees, and no Scottish Parliament delegates are able to join the Parliamentary Partnership Assembly with Europe, even when negotiations and discussions are in devolved areas. This is the biggest threat to our Parliament that we have faced and underlines all the more why we need independence and a place at the top table in Europe. This is why it is vital we all do everything that we can to keep and grow the links and networks that we have built over the years. Our manifesto, Scotland's Future, Scotland's Choice, promised that over the course of the next Parliament, we would maintain and strengthen Scotland's relationship with other EU partners with a view to rejoining as an independent nation as soon as possible. We are keeping Scotland aligned with European law. And Angus Robertson said in a recent appearance to my committee, alignment will ease the future process of Scotland's return to the European Union. And while we keep aligned, the UK is reviewing current EU law, including, it seems, imperial measurement. They have become the very definition of a pound land government. That is why we must use every opportunity available. Our incredible cultural offering must be brought to bear in diplomacy. Our city and town links from twinning must be maintained, and why Scotland House, Brussels, London, Paris and Dublin will now be joined by international offices planned in Copenhagen and Warsaw. We will facilitate these links and let our EU colleagues know that Scotland has not left you, and yes, please, EU, leave a light on for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claire. And delegates, our final speaker speaking for the resolution is Elena Whittam, MSP. Welcome to Elena.
Good afternoon, friends. Conference. We cannot fail to see that people, businesses and communities are now paying a heavy price for hard Brexit that we never voted for, imposed by a Tory government we certainly never voted for. The recent catastrophic fuel, labour and food shortages have been directly caused by Tory UK government policy failures and Brexit planning and crisis management. And the most vulnerable in society are suffering hugely as a result. Brexit Britain is broken. It's run by a hard right Tory government, and Labour is no real opposition at all. Conference, the people of Scotland voted to decisively remain within the European Union, and the SNP firmly believe that EU membership is the best option for an independent Scotland. Close relations with the European Parliament form a key part of the wider SNP aim to return to the EU as an independent member state. And we know that the SNP have enjoyed a long history of work in the European Parliament, and we've had continual representation in Brussels between the first direct EU election in 1979 and the UK's sad withdrawal from the EU in January 2020. And Winnie Ewing was our first MEP, as we've heard, and became known in Brussels as Madame Écosse. Maybe that should be Mama Écosse. And we can never forget Alan Smith's impassioned plea to the EU to leave a light on for Scotland. Conference, the SNP remains a member party of the European Free Alliance, despite the fact Brexit no longer allows us representation in the EU Parliament. And it is also the case that the SNP remains committed to Scotland's place in Europe, and the European Parliament remains interested in Scotland's future as a progressive, internationalist Northern European country. And a great amount of sympathy for and interest in Scotland has been expressed by MEPs across political parties. Since January 2020, the European Friends of Scotland group has served as an informal network of MEPs representing different political groups of the European Parliament with the objective of helping to facilitate dialogue on specific areas of mutual interest and to assure as close a relationship as possible between Scotland and the EU post-Brexit. Conference, Europeans are leaving a light on for Scotland. Support across Europe for an independent Scotland joining the EU is high. So let us use that strong message in our campaign for independence and get the job done.